Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Naked Truth Podcast with Will and Antoine. We're excited to give you a new perspective on today's topics and current events. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to be a part of the DNT family. Now, without further ado, please enjoy today's episode.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Naked Truth. I am Will Skelton, and I have my co-host Antoine Mercer with me. Go ahead and tap in.
What's going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of The Naked Truth, ready to talk about all things. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready to get naked. Are you ready? Let's go.
I'm ready.
So, what are we talking about today, Antoine? I think, we were talking about relationships recently, so I think we should talk about another topic of similar to relationships, but it's called friendships, which is a type of relationship. So, what do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. You know, TLC said, what about your friends? Will they stand their ground? Will they let you down? Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So let's start it with a definition of what friendships or friends are, right? And so it's an attachment to another person by affection or esteem, an acquaintance. And so there's different levels of friendships, right? There's your close friends, your good Judies, if you don't know what a Judy is, it's not for you. You're not supposed to know. Uh, but definitely tell me, Antoine, what do you consider a friend?
I consider a friend to be someone that I can trust, someone that I can lean on in times of hardship, someone that is going to be loyal, someone that I can be vulnerable with, and someone that I can have a good old time with.
Well, now, so let's talk about this. We meet friends all kinds of way, right? So some of our first friends are, if you're lucky enough, you have siblings, right? And siblings become your first friends. And sometimes you keep that look like you don't consider your siblings friends. No,
No, I don't.
I mean, listen, you learn a type of relationship building with your friends. They're the first ones to play with you for games or whatever. And so you may meet friends in school. You may meet friends through other friends. You may meet friends just hanging out. So when we say all these responsibilities, right, we got to talk about what comes with it. Because to me, like for me to call you a friend, like you got to go through like a boot camp. You know what I mean? And I don't throw around that word very quickly, easily, whatever. I'm quick to call somebody an associate if I don't feel like we are past that level where I can say I can call you a friend. What does it take for you to call somebody a friend?
Well, for me, I think I'm a little different, right? Don't I don't like to use the word friend loosely. However, I also think that people that can relate to me, people that get me, people that understand me, people that show up for me, I consider to be friends. But we also have to factor in some people may relegate friends to how long you've known somebody. And I don't think that's always true either. I don't think a friend is relegated to how long you've known someone.
That's true because you could meet somebody tomorrow, today, whatever, and you're like, "Oh my god, like I feel like you are my soul tie, my forever friend." And then you got friends who you don't talk to every day, but you guys have been friends for years, and whenever that person calls or you call that person, then you just go there. So let's talk about the difference between a friend and acquaintance. Like what? So do you have any acquaintances, Antoine?
I have lots of acquaintances.
Oh, wait. When we say acquaintance, we're not talking about another type of acquaintance, are we?
No, we are not. These are people that are
Those
not
are
in
your
the
hoes.
friend category, but are, they're cool people that I kick it with from time to time.
So some people will call that like your social friends. Would you call a social friend an acquaintance, or do you actually call a social friend a friend?
I would call a social friend an acquaintance.
Okay. So what are the levels of expectations for an acquaintance? What's the difference between the two?
So for me, the difference between the two would be an acquaintance is somebody that I may hit up if I just want to go out on a Friday night and just kind of like go to a party or you know, grab a quick dinner or something like that, right? Something just kind of like to have a good time. It's not necessarily somebody that I'm going to be 100% vulnerable with. It's not somebody that I'm going to have an expectation to be there for me in my time of need. It's not somebody that I'm going to tell all my business to.
Now, how much do you trust this social friend or acquaintance?
I
Oh, we're talking
trust
about
them.
trust.
I trust them enough to know that if we're out, they're going to make sure that I'm okay.
You think a social friend or acquaintance is that responsible?
Yeah, I would hope so.
I don't know because there have been many times. Like for me, we always have a whole code in my group. Whoever you come with is who you leave with. I don't care whoever you meet. You could tell them they could meet you at your house. But if you came in my car, you leave in my car. You know what I mean? So that's what I considered to me. If I call you a social friend, that's the level of trust that I would hope. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, and that's essentially what I'm saying. Like, if we're out and they see a situation happen where I'm trying to go with somebody else, they're going to be like, "You're coming back with me." Like, to me, that is as far as a level of trust I can give to an acquaintance.
Now, now, what if that social friend get a little drunk and now they get in a fight with somebody? You jumping it in? Not that we're promoting violence or anything like that, but I just want to know, like,
This
how
is an
much?
acquaintance.
Yeah, this is an acquaintance.
You know,
Are you throwing bones?
I might be willing to help the acquaintance out. It all depends, right? If it's a situation where they're fighting one on one, then yeah, they got it. But if it's a
Wait. Are
situation
you?
where they're
Go ahead,
getting
sir.
jumped, then I'm going to feel obligated to help them.
So if they got it, like they can handle their own. You're not gonna jump in. But if they get their ass beat, then you're gonna come in. Are you gonna swing back, or are you just gonna pull them out the fight?
I'm going to help them. I'm not going to let my social
What does
friend or
help mean?
acquaintance,
Like, are you gonna swing back, or are you gonna pull them out the fight?
I'm going to swing back.
Okay, okay. So you're a ride or die, regardless. If
I'm a
you
ride or
are,
die. I'm a ride or die. Yeah.
no matter the type of relationship. I mean, type of friendship.
No matter. Yeah, I'm pretty much ride or die. Because my thing is, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. And so if I'm out and a situation happens and I'm in a fight, I want my social friends or acquaintances to jump in and help me.
So this is where, of course, Antoine and I, we are very much alike, but sometimes we have some difference of opinion, right? For me, I don't be giving out that type of level of loyalty unless I know for sure you've done something for me to be able to extend that to you, right? So if you somebody that don't never pay for gas, that don't never take the bill or nothing like that, that to me is whether or not I'm gonna definitely jump in a fight to, I'm not going to let you get beat up. I'm gonna break up the fight, but I'm not swinging back where I could potentially put myself in harm. Swinging for you, and you ain't gonna never swing for me. You know.
I guess I look at it differently. I think in my mind, I think of it on the lines of how it is in a fraternity, right? In a fraternity, I may not be best of friends with all of my fraternity brothers, but if one of my fraternity brothers is getting in a fight, I'm going to fight.
All your fraternity brothers,
Yes.
every single one of Phi Beta Sigma.
All of my fraternity brothers, every single one of Phi Beta Sigma.
All right, y'all heard it first. If Antoine is in a room and he turns his back, we got it recorded that he's a liar. And I'm just kidding. Antoine is definitely going to be that brother that's going to have your back. I will too. I'm saying all this junk, of course, but I'm a brother first. And of course, whatever issues that we have behind closed doors is closed doors issues. And then, of course, when we are in the public, of course, I got your back. Even if I don't like you, because there's some frat brothers that I don't necessarily care for, but they're still my frat brothers. And so that's what we always say. Every frat is not your brother, and every brother's not your frat. But to me, I just want to talk about a situation, right? We talk about that person that you said earlier that's going to be there for you, right? We got to talk about like healthy boundaries. And that's one of main purposes that we're talking about friendship on this topic today is that we want to be able to talk about what are the components of a healthy friendship, because you want to make sure that you're not putting too much expectations on somebody who can't meet that expectation. And so we don't never necessarily say, it's not like a formal contract. We're not Nene and what's her
Cynthia.
name, Cynthia, where there's a friendship contract where it outlines what you're supposed to do and not do whatever. And for me, I fall fault to that because I don't do those formalities, right? But I think I always thought that people can match what I provide in a friendship. And that's something I had to learn the hard way, that just because I love a certain way or I'm a friend this way does not mean that person is going to be the same to me. So the first thing I like to always say is that make sure that whatever you are putting out forward is something that you're okay with not getting back from that person. Because again, even in a relationship, romantic relationship, that person may not be able to love you that same way. And so you have to understand, like, you may be there for that person and they may not be there for you, in a reciprocative type of manner. So I want to talk about a situation. Say you got a friend who is in a situation that you don't necessarily feel is in the best interest for them. Let's just say, I don't know. We could talk about a lot of things. We could talk about a friend that's dealing with addiction, a friend that's in an abusive relationship, a friend that's going through a divorce. Like, how do you still be there for that person if they continue to entertain those things that are not going to be healthy for themselves, but like you want to be there for that person, you want to be loyal, you want to be supportive? Like, how do you set that boundary to say that you're not continuing to like promote something that is going to ultimately not going to end well?
Well, I think the first question you have to ask is, how close of a friend is this friend? Is this
Does it matter?
a social friend, or is this a friend like your best friend or one of your close friends in your circle? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that denotes how you respond to their situation. And then the second thing is, like you said, you have to have boundaries, right? And you have to understand that a lot of times we want to help people out of situations, but they have to want to help themselves out of those situations first before we can give help to that situation. And if that person is not ready to help themselves first, then there's nothing you can do that is going to help them, because it's always going to be a resistance.
So okay, we're gonna put you on the spot, right? Antoine, you're going through a situation, and I'm like, you came to me. I didn't ask no questions. You brought me into the intimacy of your friendship or your relationship issue, right? And you tell me so and so is doing all these things to me, and I'm leaving this relationship because it's not working out. It's not in my best interest. They don't kick me out the house, whatever, blah blah blah, right? And then you don't start to move on and start this whole new life, moving on without this person that you were romantically involved in. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm going to go back with this person. You telling me that I'm supposed to still be there for you, with this unloyal backing, even though I know after the things you told me weren't going to work for you, I'm supposed to still say, roo, roo, rah, rah, here, I'm here for you, Antoine?
Absolutely. So let's do this, right? Since this is the naked truth,
This is.
we're going to be a little vulnerable because we've had this experience
We
in our
have.
friendship before, right? For the listeners out there, those who don't know, I was once married to a lovely young lady. And at the time of me getting married, Will did not agree with me getting married.
I know.
And
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
so,
whoa, whoa. Okay, I'm gonna get my part. I'm gonna get my part. Say your part. Say your part.
so he did not come to the wedding because he did not agree with me getting married, because at the time I was struggling with my sexuality. In my mind, right, this caused a rift in our friendship because in my mind, I felt like he still should have supported me regardless of whatever his feelings were of my decision, because at the end of the day, he is my best friend.
Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn.
So this is the Will side of the story. Picture it, 1920. No, I'm just kidding. Antoine did reveal some concerns, right? But it was never, um, in my mind, I was still processing what bisexuality is. And I've known people since then, of course, who have expressed interest in same sex, like gender liking. Um, and they have moved on and been in relationships with the opposite sex and had successful relationships. Whatever they do behind closed doors to make it work is their business, right? However, I just felt like, for one, Antoine is not including a lot of context information. Antoine told me, like, first of all, I was checking in and I was like, yo, how's the wedding going? All this and stuff. And he was like, well, it ain't gonna be no wedding. She called it off. And I was like, what? And then that's when we had the little come to Jesus talk. And I'm like, okay, because I'm thinking in my head, there's only two reasons why a woman, will cancel a wedding or think back about it. And it's either Antoine cheated or some other situation. I happen to guess that it was the other situation because Antoine don't look like a cheater. So when we had that conversation, we were good. But not saying that you were going to never, you just said, right now there's a challenge in moving forward because some women are not cool with moving forward with knowing that their, partner, whoever, is bisexual. And at that time, that was a thing. Antoine is forgetting to tell the part of the story. I got informed by my line brother, because we have more than one, and told me on Friday that Antoine was getting married on that Sunday. And so I didn't even get a chance to get it from word of mouth from Antoine about that he had this reconciliation or whatever, that he was going back. I didn't know that they were back involved. I didn't know nothing. So to me, it was like two slaps in the face because I'm like, wow, I don't even get that respect as your best friend. And second, on such short notice, what is this all about? Like, are you trying to please somebody else that was not a part of this relationship? Because it just seems so rushed. Like, why is it all of a sudden? And so, again, this is just from my perspective, not saying that what I said is true. So at that time, Will had already had a commitment. I was working at the, this, when, what was it? The crab feast for Zeta Sigma in Baltimore. It's an annual thing. And one of our frat brothers, had asked me to help him sell some paraphernalia. And it was on that same Sunday. And I didn't want to disappoint him because I already made that commitment. And I just didn't know, like, it just seemed like this whatever rush shotgun wedding. I was like, somebody pregnant? Like, why are we rushing to go to the wedding? Because before it was this big elaborate wedding. And now all of a sudden it's Friday afternoon. Hey, what are you doing on Sunday? Antoine getting married. You come in? And I'm like, damn, Antoine not even telling me. And so it's similar to that situation I was talking about before, where I'm in a situation where a friend of mine went back to their partner and I discovered it on Facebook. After this person told me I've moved on, there's nothing to do with that person. And in their Facebook story, they're posting pictures back with their friend, whoever, the ex, that they said they were leaving. So again, how am I to feel as your friend, your close friend, that I'm being told about your change of whatever direction through some other third person or third party?
So here's the thing, right? What you have to understand, and a lot of this could have been cleared up early on had you stated all of this when we had conversations, right? First of all, it was a shotgun wedding. I literally went to Bible study on Thursday. We had a meeting with my pastor at the time that Thursday night, and it was literally, we're getting married on Sunday. That's literally how it went. So because our line brother was the best man, he was the one that was doing all of the communicating to people to have them to show up. That's one, why you didn't hear it from me. Two, that's another reason of why it was so quick. And three, if you had just said you had another commitment, I would have understood that you were not there because you had another commitment. But
you didn't know that until now?
You never said you had another commitment.
Wait. Okay. Hey, we have an exclusive on the Naked Truth. In the 20 plus years of friendship, Antoine, this is your first time hearing that that's what happened?
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I thought I told Ray why I wasn't going to be there. And I thought he would have relayed that to you. So
No,
we got to
for the
call Mr.
longest time, I
Hudson.
thought you did not show up because you did not agree with me getting married.
That was one part of it, but I was also honoring more so my prior commitment. If it was something else, because every one of our line brothers who lived in the area, they were there, and I'm sure I was the missing party, and everybody probably was wondering where was I. And I don't know what you said in my absence, but I just felt like, it for me, there's a big part. We're seeing that communication is a big part of friendship, and I wish you had asked me like why I wasn't there, because we could have cleared this up a long time ago. And I honestly thought like the message, because I was like, if you're using our line brother to communicate to me, I use that same channel to communicate back to you about why I wasn't going to be there. So we realized that there was a break in the communication that we account for. But look at this. 20-something years. I always thought you knew. Like, I never knew that you didn't know. Wow.
No, I never knew.
Wow.
All right. So after listening to y'all go back and forth, what does it feel like as friends to know that there was a certain level of distance between y'all that could have been solved with a simple conversation that y'all are having 20 years later?
I mean, we already talked about this. We said that it was a failure of communication. It was ineffective communication between all of us. I didn't communicate my feelings for Antoine, and Antoine is a Cancer and is very guarded. I'm just kidding. But no, I only take accountability for me.
Shots fired, bro. Shots fired.
I mean, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. The bull. But no, I think for me, a lot of times we have a hard time doing that uncomfortable conversation, holding our friends accountable, because we don't want to seem like we're somebody that at least for me, I don't want to make it seem like I'm like a prima donna, somebody that's just having these high expectations for a friend.
Well, you definitely are a prima donna, and you definitely do have high expectations for a friend.
Shots
But
fired.
I feel like,
shots fired. Oh, okay.
Yes, shots fired.
All right.
But I feel like, I really wish we would have had a conversation 20 years ago where both of us could have expressed how we felt in that moment, instead of thinking one thing and then finding out it was something totally different 20 years later. Because in the beginning, it did put a strain on our friendship. We just happened to work through it, obviously, by not really getting to the root of the issue, but we kind of, I guess you could say, glossed over it.
We threw dirt over it.
Yeah, moved on. But now we see 20 years later, a simple conversation could have really been the fixer.
Right, but I think like what I was saying, like it still takes for me, and I'll say this, it's just, because we're doing the Naked Truth, right? I always feel like most times when Antoine and I had a falling out, I was the one that was always extending olive branch and say, let's be friends again. And at that point, I had just had enough about being the person that's always trying to salvage our friendship. So I said, you know what, if Antoine's not going to do his job, his responsibility to, be accountable for his part in the problems, the issues that we're having right now, then if he wants to throw it away, then that's his thing. But at this point, I'm not going to do the work anymore because I'm tired of building bridges. The engineering was out.
Yes, I do agree. You have always been the one to come back and be like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's resolve this. But I feel like all of our issues, in my opinion, were dumb and just childish. And I just felt like we're arguing about something that really holds no weight. And I felt like you were making it a big deal. And I did not feel the need to give it the energy that you were trying to give. So I'd just be like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'm good.
Because I am a big deal. I am a big deal.
Yes, you are a big deal.
I am the male Beyonce. We already talked about that.
Yes, you're Beyonce. I'm Kelly. We got it. But sometimes, you being a big deal can be a lot, right? And that is one of the things that I had to learn to love about you, was the fact that you can be a big deal, but when you're being a big deal, you're being very passionate about something that you care about and something that you love. And I had to learn that that's how you express your love for people. Took me a while, but I got it now.
So
Do you?
I have a question for y'all both because I like the idea of learn to love. At what point did you get to that realization that in order for these type of relationships to continue, you have to learn to love? As a caveat, I'll say for my generation, you play around too much, you'll be out of here. So,
Oh, we already said that. Y'all so quick to end
so,
friendships. Like I
so
don't know what. How long is the longest friendship you had? Let's put the question on you, Mister.
me?
Yeah. What's the
Bro,
longest friendship you had?
I still got my best friend from 5 years old. You feel me? Trinity Christian Academy. You feel me? Like
And y'all didn't have no issues that you have to resolve.
Yo, we had maybe 2 big fights.
Okay.
In our entire
Y'all
life.
stop talking altogether.
The first time we had a big fight, I crashed out. I called him all types of different names. I told him when I see him, But it's funny because I was texting him, but it was actually his mom's on the phone.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was like, "That's not the respectable person I know."
You getting to see the real Alex,
Mr. Two Sides, nigga. Mr. Two Sides. But we had that fight, and then we had an actual fight where it came to blows type stuff where we had to put on the boxing gloves and we had to see each other real quick, which I would say I prefer that. I'd rather just
duking it out.
Yeah, let's duke it out because I feel like after that we could talk.
I agree.
I would demolish Antoine. That's not good.
I am with you 100%, Alex. I come from the generation where I'd rather just let us just fight, get it out the way, hug it out, come back, and be the best of friends.
Yeah, because you have that like cathartic release. So now that the fight is out of the way, if there's really still an issue, all we can do is talk about it because you're not gonna want to fight again. Feel me? So
I fight with my words, man, and that was something I had to learn how to grow out of because when I'm hurt, of course, hurt people, and I don't say things to like, for instance, I lost a friend who our friendship ended when they said to me in the middle of our fighting, right? Like you said, they were like, "I can't think of a time that you were ever a friend to me," and that hurt like shit because I'm like, I've done a lot for this person, and when that came out, I was like, wow. So all this time here, I thought I was being a dedicated friend, and you want to throw all that to the side like that didn't mean nothing to you. Like you said, I was never a friend to you, and I said, you know what, bet, and I walked away from the conversation, and we haven't spoken since. But to me, I think that's what made our friendship, me and Antoine here. We actually had a conversation after that big fight of like, how do we get here and how do we prevent it from here? And I think it was during that conversation we had our come to Jesus about like, I think Antoine finally got the moment about me. And when I said like, what he said was true, I don't make a big deal about a lot of things, but when I make it a big deal, it's a big deal, meaning like, okay, pay attention because this is something important. And I think he has learned how to read my reactions better.
I have learned that now. I don't think I learned that when we had that come to Jesus talk, to be honest with you. I think it took several come to Jesus talks for me to learn that lesson. Because for most of our friendship, we have butted heads, right? But we've always, even though we've butted heads, we've always come back together and had conversations and worked things out and this, that, and the other. I think it took me a while to really understand why things were always a big deal for you. Because in my mind, situations weren't a big deal. But once I learned later on in our friendship that is how you express how you love people or how you care, then it made sense and things begin to click. So now when you are being very passionate and big about things, I get it. Oh, that's his way of saying I care.
If that's what you feel, if that's what you walked away with.
So what do you think was your hesitation of, because you said it was several come to Jesus moments. So what do you think was your hesitation behind not
I think
learning
my
that?
hesitation was, one, I had never had a friend like Will before. Meaning someone that, in my mind, right, I felt like Will had high expectations of our friendship. And I felt like these expectations were so high that I could not realistically meet them. And so it was always something that I was failing to meet or accomplish. And it would turn into a big deal or a big situation. I've also never had a friend that was very territorial. Will is very territorial. And that's one of the things I do love about him, right? One of the things I do love about him is the fact that if Will has your back, he has your back, period. Like, you don't ever have to worry about whether or not he has your back because you're going to know that he has your back. But I was never used to somebody, a male, let me say that. I was never used to a male having my back and being very territorial and very overprotective of me like he had. And so sometimes it came off as me feeling like he was trying to be my daddy more so than my friend. But I get now and understand that that is just how he shows that he cares. And I'm the oldest, but Will always felt like he had to take on that big brother role for me. And sometimes I felt like I can take care of myself. I can look out for myself. But I think in Will's eyes, he felt like I can be a little naive, which I can. And I'm very nice and kind. And his thing is he don't like to see people take advantage of me. And so he put on that overprotectiveness and big brother role, and sometimes it was just a bit too much.
Can I speak now?
The floor is yours.
Antoine is he. You know what? I love when Antoine loves to tell his side of the story. Boy, he be very skint with the details. Antoine is too damn nice. And then what happened is when people don't piss Antoine off, then here come out Mad Dog, and I got to be the one to clean up the mess afterwards. I was tired of cleaning up the mess. I'm like, if you tired of these people taking advantage of you, don't give them access to you. And so that's what I was always trying to make Antoine. And this is what is, where we grew up to find out it's called boundaries. But I was the boundary. Like, you don't get past, if you try to get access to Antoine, you got to come through me. Because at the end of the day, I know Antoine is not going to check you twice, but I'm going to. Because I know people out there are not going to be good and honest people. Because there are definitely people, if somebody's giving, somebody's going to take. And definitely, Antoine was definitely handing it out. I mean, we're not talking about nothing else. But
you hear that, Leonard?
Antoine was very generous. And I was like, I'm tired of people watching it like from the sidelines. So I had to stand up for it. I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. And then I think for me, like I said, Antoine is very generous with his friendship. So we actually had to do something that was very funny. I can't believe we did it. I felt like Antoine was not making time for me. We would go weeks without talking. And so we had to make a standing meeting, and it's still on my phone every Wednesday at 10 p.m. to have a conversation because Antoine just could not commit to making sure that he called me at least once a week. And I felt some kind of way about that because I'm like, if I'm your best friend, why haven't I heard from you in a week, 2 weeks, whatever? So we said, okay, we're going to agree. This is the time you are always going to be available, Wednesday at 10. And it's still on my calendar. And just in case I don't hear from him, that's when I reach out. But at the same time, I'm like, why do I have to feel like I'm chasing down my friend to have a conversation? Like, it should feel natural.
And again, that is part of the expectation that I was referring to, right? Like, some of my closest friends, we don't talk for months. Some of my best friends, we don't talk for months. And then when we pick up the phone, it's just like, no time has passed. And so I wasn't used to having to talk to somebody once a week or twice a week or something like that consistently to show that they're my best friend, if that makes sense, right?
Well, I got a lot of stuff going on, so it's a lot to be downloaded in a month.
I get that now.
I need feedback more frequently. So sorry, you got to step up to the plate, and you got to meet me halfway. So that's why I said we agreed to do it once a week, and now we don't even have to do that because that was just a little training program we went through.
Yes,
and now we talk all the time.
Yes,
Yeah,
but you understood.
yes, I understood. But that's also why I have different pockets of friends, because I have you, right, who requires, you know, talking consistently on a weekly basis. But I also have friends that don't require that.
And I have friends like that too. They're friends that, like you said, I'm close to that I haven't talked to in spaces. But Antoine, again, it'd be things because we're in the same fraternity. We have some similar friends. It'd be like a lot of stuff. And I'm like, I can't hold all this stuff in. And then dating life, all that stuff. That's a lot to be holding on to for 2-3 weeks before I can talk to you. I'm not taking a number and waiting. This ain't the DMV. Hell
You never
no.
had to take a number. Stop it.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Because he'd be like, oh, I was busy. And then Antoine works a lot too. He's a Jamaican, y'all. I told
I
you.
do work a lot.
He got 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. Listen.
Shout out to my Jamaicans.
All the jig on them. Yachties.
Damn.
But so the genesis of this is that a friendship, just like a relationship, takes time and dedication that you want to pour into it. And you always want to make sure that you make the other party feel like their feelings are important. That was the only thing for me and Antoine. It wasn't to have my way. It was for him to just understand me. And that's all it was. He didn't necessarily have to do, because he still don't do everything I tell him to do. But, that's why I'm not beside his head. But but it's not even about getting my way. It's about just
abuse.
We do not condone abuse, not even friendship, domestic abuse. But it's still, at the end of the day, like I needed Antoine to understand, like I wanted to feel like I was heard. And that's a big thing for me. Like, it's not even always about being right. It's just making sure that, listen, this is the way I felt. This is how you made me feel. And you may not agree with it, but at least you say, you know what, I hear you. And that's important. Those words are important.
And this is all very important as it relates to developing friendships, because a lot of the work that you put in when developing a friendship later on helps you when you're developing or looking to be in a relationship. And so if you don't put in that work, if you don't learn to listen or hear or understand your best friends or your friends in your close circle, then you're not going to have a strong friendship. You're not going to have a strong foundation. And then you'll struggle when trying to move into a relationship with somebody else, because you need that skill set, that practice, before you can move into something romantically with somebody else later on down the line. So I definitely agree with that. I'm glad we had our come to Jesus moments, and we finally got to a place where we can hear and understand each other.
Yeah, ultimately, you just got to date your friends. So if you're not dating your friends, then you ain't practicing for no relationship. Sorry, I'm just going to keep it.
So why do you think people have kind of grown so accustomed to letting friendships go?
I think because they don't see the value, and we're in this space now in our lives where everybody wants to protect their peace, which I think is bullshit. I think this whole protect my peace is a cop out for not having to work through your issues or problems with people in your life.
Nah, protect your peace is like if anybody's like bothering you or upsetting you or like disturbing what you could be by yourself, just go be by yourself.
Yeah.
So you just be an immature person and basically walk out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna label it as simply immature, because I think sometimes people haven't actually taken the time to get to know themselves. So like they also haven't dove into how they even can show up for somebody else, because they don't really be showing up for them. So I think most of this stuff comes from like a genuine place, and then society, white people get it, and then it turns into just like a momentum or something that can kind of be propped up to sell you something else, but not necessarily the essence of what's going on,
Right, but what I was talking about is if somebody uses that excuse, I like to say, as a cop out to handling or being accountable for their part of the friendship, then that's who I'm calling immature. I'm definitely about protecting peace. I'm protecting my peace all day long, but there's times where we got to put on our big boy and big girl pants and realize that if this is a friendship or a relationship that we want to hold on to, that we salvage, then you're going to have to take time out of being uncomfortable
At your time, of course, I don't want nobody to be like feeling so stressed out, or whatever. But you still need to process and be ready to eventually, at some point, come back to the middle and say, "Let's talk," and that's what we do.
So let me ask y'all this: what do you all think is the difference between setting boundaries and protecting your peace? Because I feel like
Uh,
sometimes we confuse the
One
two.
begets the
Like,
other. No,
do what?
one
nah.
begets the other. Like when you set your boundaries, then you're able to protect your peace because people already see that boundary before they can encroach and then trespass because you've set the boundaries to say do not cross this line because then you're going to be disturbing my peace.
I don't even think
That's how
people
I see
are.
it.
I don't think people are saying don't cross this line when they set boundaries. I think I don't. I would say the same thing when they say they're protecting their peace. I think oftentimes there's something that they're not feeling, or there's something that they're not resonating with that they haven't found the way to articulate. So then they're trying to put all these blockers in place from other people because they either don't want to feel like that burden or they don't want to look like the outcast that they may be because they failed at that connection with other people. And because of that, it's just all these barriers that go in place. You could call it a boundary, you could call it your peace, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but what you're really doing is just trying to hide better and better because you don't necessarily feel comfortable here. And I think it's interesting because listening to y'all talk is like you grew to get comfortable here. So even when it got to the blows and everything else like that, it's like, all right, you get on my nerves right now, but I'm still comfortable enough to be in this dynamic with you. So I think because people take any opportunity to kind of hide or shun themselves from what the potential disappointment will be, they never get to that point where it's comfortable. So it's always a thing or it's always something to run from, So go ahead.
I also think though, looking at me and Will's friendship, like
Uh,
I think the dynamic was different. And the reason why the dynamic was different was because I think Will and I always looked at each other as brothers first, more so than just friends.
yeah,
And for us, it was, yeah, we're best friends, but this is also my brother.
yeah.
Like at the end of the day, blood could not make us any closer. So it's like, yeah, we're going to have our issues. We're going to fight. We're going to argue. We're going to disagree. But at the end of the day, we're going to come back and we're going to work it out because that's my brother.
Like I don't think we've ever gotten that pissed. Like we've been upset, but not to the point where like I really want to destroy him. Like I don't think we've ever allowed our anger to get out of that control. Um, again, listen, you ain't got to count everything I said tonight. You know that,
I'm,
right?
I'm not counting. I'm not counting everything
Is
you say.
that what it is? Like you said, I'm gonna tap in today. Like
I'm tapping
that's
into work.
okay.
I'm
Can I
tapping
have?
into work. I'm tapping into work.
Can
I'm
I
doing
say
my
my
job.
piece and let it be that? This is what I be talking about. This is exactly what we're talking about. No, I'm just saying.
I'm not countering everything that you say.
You
But
are.
I
Everything
will
is
say,
but. Can I finish my point first?
hold
How
on,
about
hold
that?
on. Let me say this real quick. I will say, I feel like when we saw each other in the elevator at Centennial, I felt like the tension was so thick that at that moment, if Ray was not there, it could have went to a place
It would have
where,
been
yes,
what's her name? Solange and Jay-Z. Somebody would have
it
came
would have been
out
crazy.
alone the show. It's
we don't
okay.
we don't condone
We do
abuse.
not again, trigger warning, trigger warning, we are not condoning any violence. But no,
No,
you're
go
right.
ahead. Go ahead.
I do feel like I said, I think for the most part, we have done our best to maintain our behaviors so it does not escalate to that point. Because I think if we had ever physically fought, I don't know if we would have been able to recover from that. Because to me, I don't play that game. Like if I put my hands on you or you put your hands on me and I'm retaliating, whatever, like it is to a point where because I don't play that game in relationships, friendships. Like I don't play the physical thing, and we're gonna have a conversation about that domestic abuse coming up. So look out for that.
That's why you
Tune
got to put the
in.
boxing gloves on. It got to be a scheduled fight.
Right.
Both sides got to walk into the fight. It can't just be you start swinging. For me,
And
it's
we
like,
have to have a referee because if I'm stomping on Antoine, I need somebody to pull me off of him. So
Who got time
I'm
for
6'2", something. I'm just saying.
Now,
Look,
what that
see
mean?
Antoine.
the bigger they are, the harder they
I'm
fall.
just saying. Just saying.
What that mean?
The bigger they
What-
are,
We
the
have
harder they
seen this
fall.
all the time. This ain't no
What does
David
that
and
mean?
Goliath. You ain't David.
What
I'm
does
telling
that
you.
mean? Come on now.
You
You
listen.
already know when the Mad Dog get activated.
Who want to? You know what? Maybe we make that a live show. We gonna have a live
We gonna
ring
bring
fight,
the boxing glove.
and then we can really duke it out and say, you know what, this for that time. Boop,
You
and then, you know,
gonna catch this work. See, that's the problem.
you
A
gonna
lot
get
of
that fat
people,
lip. How about that?
a lot of people look at my size and look at my stature and be like, "Oh, he's
And
such a
that
nice
mouth.
person," and all of these things. But realistically, these hands are nice, first and foremost, and two,
I ain't never seen you fight.
y'all don't want to see me when Mad Dog is activated because it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm a whole nother person. So
Shout out to my
I
two-sided
have this
individual.
very nice persona because I have made a promise to myself early on in life that I would never allow anyone to push
Take you
me
there.
to that point where I get to Mad Dog being activated. Because once I get there, I can't come back. And that has only happened
It's a lot of thinking. This shit happened a couple times.
a couple of
Shit
times
happened a couple times.
in this lifetime.
This shit happened a couple times.
I know of one for myself. Whew, it took 4 of us to hold you down, but you know.
Lord Jesus.
Four people over 6 feet
That's a great number.
and 200 pounds.
But maybe we were protecting you from getting beat up. I'm just saying, just kidding.
I doubt it. You definitely weren't protecting me from getting beat up.
So that being said, what encouragement do you have for people who are either trying to build better relationships, searching for better relationships, want to cultivate better relationships, so on and so forth?
You got to put in the work. It's
It is
really
work.
all about putting in the work and not throwing away the friendship when you have a disagreement or when you have an argument or when you get upset. Like, yes, you're going to get mad. You're going to disagree. But at the end of the day, you got to know when to come back to the table and have a resolution and be willing to talk through whatever your issues are.
I think for me, I like to always start out with a very famous poem, The 6 Most Important Words. And if you don't know that, you need to look it up because I think that's what everybody has a struggle with for me, dealing with. And again, it's not about being wrong or right, but it's just taking accountability for your actions. And then when you apologize, make sure it's an actual apology. It's not, well, I apologize if you feel. No. I told you I felt this way. So you don't need to put the if you feel part. That makes it disingenuous. Just say, I'm sorry I made you feel this way. Period. It is an action and you are accountable whether or not your intentions don't even matter all that time. You just got to say it, get it off your chest, be the big man or big girl, whatever, and be able to hold yourself accountable.
And for me, I'll say invest in some boxing gloves. Y'all go ahead and sign us off.
Well, in the matter of speaking of friends, we've all have friends of various kinds. I think I talked about necessarily that friendships are like cupcakes. They come in different flavors. They're there for different times of the seasons, whether happy, sad, or in between. And we want to give our friends their flowers while they're here. And for those that pass on to the next life, we definitely want to make sure that they are feeling the love. And so in this episode, we actually want to take a moment to dedicate this to a friend that we lost, Renera Murphy. And I'm going to let Antoine take it from here to give his dedication.
I definitely want to take this moment to dedicate this episode to 2 good friends that I lost. One, Jason Banks, and 2, Renera Murphy, both who were great friends in my life. And my hope and goal is that I can be a friend to my friends as they were to me. And because both of them made significant impacts in my life in various ways. And I will forever be indebted to them and the impact that they made. And so I just want to take this moment to dedicate this episode to them and let them know that, I love them and hopefully they're smiling down and happy.
Well, since we're talking about more than one friend, I thought we was going to do one friend. So this is a dedication to all my friends that have passed on, especially those who did not win the battle of the struggle of what is life all about. I dedicate it to their memory in their dedication for their fight. And I hope that whoever hears this knows that you are loved. Someone cares about you despite what you may think. And we want to see you and hear the next episode on The Naked Truth.
Hey everybody, we hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Naked Truth. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to be a part of the D&T family and stay up to date for future episodes and exclusive content. Also, follow us on our social media handles listed in our bio. Again, on behalf of Will, Antoine, and the rest of the Naked Truth production team, we'd like to thank you for listening to today's episode. Until next time, stay solid.